Greetings everyone. I am Abhishek K. Sharma, volunteer MetaMorph, West Nimbus, NIT Hamirpur, and I am here on behalf of Team MetaMorph to invite you all to our event with Kapil Kulshrestha sir. Now, I would like to call upon stage Tanya for introducing sir to our audience. Over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you so much. Uh, there is nothing better than achieving your goals, whatever they might be. Kapil Kulshrestha is establishing this pronouncement as veracious. He is helping and motivating thousands of people to attain their life goals by boosting a sense of self aplomb in them. His positive intendence has encouraged a lot of people to chase their mindset. Initially, he worked as a project manager in Kale Consultant. This was a kind of kickstart to his IT career. After that, he worked in Microsoft as senior program manager in 2005. He worked in reputed companies like Cognizant as well. But after a while, he refused to accept all these standard parameters of success and decided to follow his inner will. He left his handsome pay job and started a journey to help people to step into their life careers. He really played it full. He wrote his journey in his best selling book, Play It Full, which also defines the foundation of his high impact mentoring programs, which was a bestseller in India and in Australia as well. Currently, he is the founder CEO of Scintillate Coaching and helping people to transform their career. Now, I would like to call upon stage CC of our team, Rahul Bhatia, who will head towards the session.
So thank you so much, Tanya. Hello everyone. I am Rahul Bhatia, CC of Team MetaMorph, and I am here to invite someone who is a great motivational speaker, a life coach, and a corporate zombie. So please, I would like to invite Mr. Kapil Kulshrestha sir on stage. So
Hey,
sir,
hey,
we
hey,
are
everybody.
so grateful that you are here with us.
Absolutely
Yes,
fantastic. Thank you. I,
absolutely.
I really love it. It's like going back to the college which I passed out more than almost 28 years back. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. We are grateful that you are here.
Outstanding, outstanding. So look, the way I thought about this is that I'm gonna actually more like talk to you other than give you a presentation and and tell you some fun days and all of it. And I
So,
understand that. Yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
yes, sir, you tell us. Can we begin with question and answer session, or would you like to illuminate us with your words?
Yeah, what I would say is let me just talk about seven principles of success. And what I would like I'm one of those persons who never actually took notes when I was in corporate. I remember I would go out and let me in a minute, and then what we'll do is after that let's go to the questions, because then some of the things can actually be answered from the answered in the discussion itself. uh,
Yes, sir.
what I
Yes,
talk
sir.
about itself, and also it will probably raise some questions which people may want to ask. Is that you're okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. And एक और चीज की is people are okay with Hindi because I can jump into Hindi very fast. Is that all right, or like
Yes,
I
sir.
don't
We
know?
are. We are.
Okay, you guys are all okay. Okay. So though when I talk about these kind of things, it's a very natural tendency for me to just jump into English. But sometimes there are some things that you cannot actually express unless you just jump into your mother tongue. So cool.
Yes,
So
sir.
look, I'm one of those people, as I was saying, who never used to take notes. So I would go to a client meeting here in Sydney or anywhere in India or wherever, and I would actually borrow a page from somebody's copy, thinking, like, sincerely believing it, that I'm actually going to keep this page safe and sacrosanct and somewhere in this thing. But literally, I cannot remember any time ever when I actually took that page and really made sense out of it. Half of the time I wouldn't even understand what my handwriting was. So it's like, because it's like I think maybe looking back, maybe I should have gone to medical, because my handwriting is pretty cool, like really, like it's very difficult to understand. But what happened was something that I tried to do for 22 years of my corporate life became a very normal thing as I got into this life, as I started writing and I understood the connection that we have with this fingertip or this fingertips
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and with the head. When we type, like human beings didn't evolve to type. We have evolved with this like writing. We were making cave paintings 2 million years back, and Homo sapiens
Mm.
150,000 years back, right? So why am I saying this is because, guys, I'm going to share 7 secrets with you through a journey of serious failures,
So we would
serious
be
failures.
glad to hear that.
So
We are
take
curious
notes.
to.
Yeah, so take notes and you just note down. And you may have questions. Just it's absolutely fine for you to put the questions in the chat or write down the question. We'll handle it later. At the end of it. So
Yes.
take notes, like be those people who can take notes. So at the start of it, usually I like to tell a story. It's a story that I heard probably like 10 years back, and this was told to the CEOs who Cognizant was doing a yearly event here in Australia, and this was told to the CEOs. And this story is like it just touched me. So I wanted to imagine as I talk about this. There was this boy who just had one hand. He didn't have a right hand. And this boy had this deep desire to do something amazing in his life. So he goes out and he tells his parent that, you know what, I really want to do something amazing. What should I do? He said, well, what do you want to do? He said, I always wanted to learn martial arts. I said, okay. So what do you do when you want to do something amazingly well? You go to a mentor, you go to a coach. So this guy and his family, they went and they saw a guru. And the guru said, yep, I'm going to take this guy in, but he has to do exactly what I want him to do.
Mm.
And then what happens? This guy joins it. He starts the session and he's told, like, after a little bit of physical, like karate. For those of you who have not seen Karate Kid, please watch. It's a life lesson movie. It's not a movie which is
We
basically
will,
only
sir.
about
We will, for sure, sir. We will.
the Karate Kid. Um, so this guy so he basically is just doing some physical exercise and everything. And after a little while, he's saying that, I see all these amazing people. I just want to be participating in competition. I'm like, you want to participate in competition? His peer group, everybody says, you want to do this? Like, okay. So he goes to the guru and guru says, yeah, okay, you can participate in competition, but you gotta do what I say. हाँ ठीक है, मैं वही करूँगा. So he starts the process and the guru teaches him a technique. He says something he has to do. And this guy is like, yeah, I'm going to do what the guru said. So he masters the technique. He really works very hard. For a month, he does nothing but practices that. And then a month passes and he's like, yeah, I think I've mastered it really well. Let me go out and let me just talk to the guru and give me something else. Like, I want more. And the guru says, yeah, good. I want you to practice it more. And this guy's like, okay. And then he's spending another 3 weeks and he's really mastered. This time he's so 100% confident that I'm completely there. So he again goes back to the guru and guru says, yeah, keep practicing. So he said, but everybody else is doing so much stuff, right? All of these things, right? People are doing this and that. No, you practice it. So this guy keeps doing that. He speaks to his parents also that I'm frustrated. I'm just doing one thing. Should I drop out? But they trust the guru, so they keep going. And about 8-9 months pass. Finally, it's time for the competition. And much to everybody's surprise, he wins the first round. And then the second. And then the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. Finally, he wins the championship.
Amazing,
Remember that
amazing. Practice
doesn't have.
makes us perfect. Sir.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop here. So these are surprised. Everybody's surprised. Hey, what's happening? So they go to the guru and say, hey, like, what happened? How did I win it? The guru says, you won it because the only way to beat this is to grab the opponent's hands with the right hand, and you don't have a right hand. So this is unbeatable.
Wow, wow.
All of you will have different takeaways. The idea is what everybody else is doing.
Yes, sir.
That is
Disabilities are the powers too.
absolutely what you have. Life exceptional outcomes is all about the discovery of who you are. I'm listening. I'm an avid audio reader. I sometimes I finish like 3 books a week. My best has been 6 a week. I just listen to book all the time when I'm doing exercise and everything. So I'm listening to this book by Will Smith called Will. And I normally listen to book at 1.8 to 2 speed, but I have to actually slow down because it's just amazingly powerful book. Like he's got probably 30 ideas that he drops in those 15 hours after every half an hour, but story, story, story. And it's just amazing about where he went from and where he really could get to. Like multiple Grammys, being the best, highest awarded actor in the world ever, and working 80 hours a week and doing things nobody has done. So it's about that uniqueness that you discover. And
Yes,
today,
yes.
while I'm going to talk about those 7 things, each of you have to remember that in your own way, you have to implement it. In your own way, you have to take a look and say, what does it mean for me? So I really like everybody who basically did buy into that pen and paper thing. Really,
Yes, sir.
I want you to write on top of the pen and paper on the paper. What does it mean? What does it mean for me? जो भी कपिल is talking about, इसका मेरे लिए क्या मतलब है? How does it apply to me in my life? Because then my story will make more sense. Because
Yes,
the kind of
yes.
stuff I open up with you would be like, I'm going to talk more about my failures and all of it than anything else. Because you may look at a 50-year-old guy and say, oh, this guy was like a director at 41. He worked for Microsoft. He worked for Cognizant. He built his life. He lives in Sydney and all that. And you think, oh, success, success, success. But it's more like failure, 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 failure. Some success, failure, 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 failure. All that way. So
Yes, sir. And also, we need those 7 steps as we are beginners.
absolutely, yeah, cool, very cool. So let me tell you my story of how things happen. It's going to be hopefully it will just make some sense to people about what success is. I speak to a lot of people who have been in the corporate world for like 2 decades, 3 decades. People have been able to get to like CXO level positions and all of it. But there's that thing which कहीं अंदर ही अंदर दिल में लगता है कि यार is
It's
this it?
missing there.
कुछ मिसिंग है एंड उसकी सर्च में हम लोग जो है बिटकॉइन में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, हम लोग ये हम लोग वो करते हैं, हम लोग पैसे कमाते हैं, हम लोग सब करते हैं, बट हम इसको फॉलो नहीं करते. तो we'll come to that part. So for me, my journey started. Not, I'm from Kota, Rajasthan, and I think most of you know Kota. Like so Kota is like that famous IT thing and all. And the sorry, not the IT thing, the engineering thing. Back in my days, no. In fact, Alan Career and Bansal Uncle, these guys were just starting. And so Alan, these guys used to stay like we used to stay in this colony, which was JK colony, which was basically 2 bedroom apartment. Like one room was, I think this was the size of one room, and there were 2 bedrooms. And Alan Alan, this one, Maheshwari, Uncle Maheshwari, he used to stay just 2 door away, and down niche rehte the Mr. Bansal. So these two guys really literally built up. And this time when I was in Kota in my holidays, I met these 4 brothers. There was like a birthday party, and I went and met them. And I could just talk to them to see how they have become billionaires. Which is like, oh gosh, right? So anyway, so I'm from Kota. I did my engineering. I have a twin brother as well. It doesn't look like me at all. It doesn't talk like me. Doesn't look like me. He's not like me. Okay, he's not like me. He's well settled, and I'm just starting. I'm beginning my life again, almost. So anyway, because he used to study a lot, I studied with him, and I got into REC Allahabad, which is now called NIT Allahabad. So I got into that and electrical engineering. Somehow got through my 4 years. Did fail, but literally like went to the extent of failing multiple times. But I managed to get through that. And as everybody does it, I went to do a job. I got a job at a steel company, um, and that's where things shifted. I I was very fortunate that maybe it's because of my energy level or whatever. I think we were called like management training for some reasons. But of the 64 people from various RECs, I keep saying RECs or NIT. I mean, when I say REC, it's like translates to NIT. They selected one person to be the executive assistant to the president. And it's like, wow, you kind of look up and say that's where that guy is. Like that's the level. And people like me would not even basically be anywhere, but I became his executive assistant. So I was able to walk into general managers' offices, which was, it's like 7 level up my level.
Sure,
Mahindu
sir.
sir has. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? I saw power. I saw like, okay, cool. But I really sucked at that job. Really sucked. And then my roommate was actually preparing for MBA. So somewhere in February 2000 and, 1996, he was like, यार तू भी MBA कर ले यार, क्योंकि मेरा ये हाल था कि मैं तो बहुत बुरी तरह से बोर हो चुका था. मैं यार ये तो निकाल देंगे मुझको बाहर. Like, this is like electrical machinery and all. Because from the EA position where I was for like 9 months, I moved into that. So I was like, you know, निकाल निकूल दिया मेरे को. I thought like I'm really bad. So anyway, I thought okay, let's do MBA. So MBA की तैयारी की, कुछ जगह सिलेक्शन हुआ, SP जाने हुआ, I'm लखनऊ से कॉल आई, and बाला बजाज में हुआ, and then IMT. And I got into IMT, but and I was like number three, like third rank all India in IMT, and I was one of the three people ever in IMT history who lost their scholarship because they couldn't maintain their the CGPA. Right, so like, oh, all right, so very shameful, but it's pretty fun. I've got more videos. So anyway, 98 I come out, and what do? I get into IT company to do coding. I joined Polaris, which was I think this has been bought by another company now, but I joined Polaris, and they throw me in testing, and I hate it, really bad at it. So I didn't really work and almost got fired. Almost like the day I resigned, same day they said, okay, yeah, get lost, like thank you, go. No, I couldn't get into I couldn't get in, like the interview process and all didn't go anywhere. Like it's just
Yes.
couldn't get there. So there I am basically working and restarting my life in like 99. So 99 is when I thought okay, and I joined this company called Trigent in Bangalore, and there I got married. So one of the amazing things which happened was that after marriage we invited few people for dinner at our place, and one of the guys asked my wife, "Hey, what do you think is Kapil's office hours?" And she says, 10 to 3, because that's what I did. I would go to office, reach office around 10 and start back at 3 o'clock because I'm just recently married and all. So seriously, like,
Kind of thing.
yeah, it was like I didn't really work. And I'm like, I hope that if there are any professors watching, they'll say, hey, if this guy can make it, everybody can make it. So I didn't really work. In 2000, I joined a startup company. It was a personal decision because my father-in-law passed away, and I had to really do that because my brother-in-law was in army and he was posted at Kargil at the time. So I had to take care of the family. So I moved to Delhi, and I joined the startup company. And it's a long story, but I failed. They were looking for 7 crores funding, and I was given charge to actually create some piece of code, and I wasted my time in 7 days time. 4 days I wasted. So I really failed, and that just woke me up. कि मैं अपने आप को सोचता हूँ मैं फन ने खा हूँ, मेरे 75% के आसपास इंजीनियरिंग में आ गए और मैंने ये किया वो किया और यहाँ पे इसमें फेल हो रहा हूँ. So I woke. That's the first time I
That
really,
that where life hits.
yeah, it just hit me hard कि तुम हो क्या भाई, like what the hell. So like, oh, just smack on the face. And by that time Shilpa had started like really punching me in the back. I was like, work. I know, what are you doing? Like you just don't seem to work. So anyway, it was a great environment, great manager, pushed my limits, learned a lot, but got disillusioned because I didn't want to tell people कि यार I work for this company called XYZ. So I started looking out for jobs and I applied at like Infosys, TCS, Cognizant. No, not Cognizant. Cognizant was like, who cares? It was like maybe $100 million company. I'm a big guy. I'm like REC product. Come on, man. So I applied at
Yes.
G and everywhere. And I got rejected. Did get a call everywhere, but I got rejected everywhere. Like, oh. And then also another wake up that here I am thinking I'm this big ass smart dude and really screwing it up. Wake up call. Anyways, I stayed there for 2.5 years total. And then it was like, I was still sick and tired. And I remember I used to like literally cry to Shilpa and say, man, I'm sick and tired of telling people that I work for a company called PTI Travel and Technologies. Just that thinking. And that's when one of the things happen. And it's going to become eighth lesson. But I read this book by Scott Adams, the guy who created Dilbert. At the end of the book, there was this thing called affirmation. And I didn't know whether he's joking because Scott Adams is all jokes. So
Yes, sir.
the affirmation is basically you're just saying that I, Kapil Kulshrestha, is going to work for a very large company. And I used to get up in the morning and every day I used to say it 15 times. And guess what? Based on that, I actually applied at Microsoft and I got at Microsoft, which is like, cool. This is amazing. This is superb. I have
That was
arrived.
that was an achievement. Getting into the
That was
Microsoft, that was a kind of achievement.
It was amazing. And the story behind that I actually, when I went for the interview, I actually got in the middle of the interview, one flight got late. for by 4.5 hours for the interview in Hyderabad. And second, I got locked out of that place for about 1.5 hours and found my way inside. And that got me a job of a senior program manager. It was not the interview. It was how I went out after it. So I knew I'm at Microsoft. I was like, I will never leave. This is the place. I've got the name. Look at it.
Now
I
I'm
look
good
at
with
it.
it.
Like it's like wow. Till 2.5 years later, they call me one day and they call me in a room. My manager is there, HR is there, and say, "We don't like your performance. You really suck big time. Here's your money." And I was given like, shucks, and you go like, "Hey, shucks, what is this, man?"
What
Like,
happened suddenly?
oh, it was sudden. It was like, oh my gosh, that's such a big shameful moment. So obviously didn't tell anybody other than my wife and one or two very very close friends. And shameful. It's not that I didn't work completely. For 1 year I worked, but then I got really bored out of it. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm the guy who gets bored. Okay. Then I landed at Cognizant, which became a beautiful place. That's where, yeah, I got great managers. I really learned. My energy went up. I did so much stuff. And as a result of that, I was asked that, hey, do you want to go to Australia as the number one, the first guy in Australia who will build Cognizant's business from scratch? Which is like, whoa, मैं कौन हूँ यार? मेरे को इतना बोल रहा है? Okay. I came to Australia 2009 to build up the particular business unit. There was only country head and me, and now there are like 3,000 people. So it's very cool. And I worked my backside off. Like, you're not allowed to say ass to children. Right? Okay. So I worked my ass off literally. And I achieved great results. So there I was, top of the world, with a clear realization, not a clear realization, but something in the back of my mind, that there's something wrong with me. I'm like, I do this and I stop, and I do this and I stop, and I do this and I stop.
That's where self-realization occurred.
Yeah, so it didn't actually occur, but it's like I was just starting to get worried about it. So I had this weird dream, which was a borrowed dream, that by the time I turn 40, I'll be a director at Cognizant. Yes, achievement guy. And it didn't happen. And that just completely shattered me. It broke me. It broke my perspective of who I am. It broke me completely. I became this negative guy. The company that I used to love, I started hating. I started bitching about the company every place. I became one of those guys who would basically, that politics that you hear in the corporate, I would talk bad about the company everywhere. And the country head asked my boss to fire me. My boss said, no, I'm not going to let Kapil go. Because when I joined Cognizant from a non-IT background, he took me under his wing. He used these words. He took me under his wings, and he's the reason why I was so successful. So he actually got me a coach, and I woke up and I realized what was I doing with my life? What was I doing? So, anyways, next year I didn't ask for a promotion because I decided I will never ask, and I got promoted. But it did not mean
Because
the
you deserve
same.
that.
I deserved it. I deserved it in 2012 as well. What makes you think it did not? I deserved it. I thought, but I didn't take responsibility of the screw ups that I was doing. So that's why I did not get it. So anyway, 2013 I get the promotion, and it just did not mean the same thing. And I thought maybe I'm bored. Maybe that's who I am. I get bored. So I moved on to a different business unit and started handling non-banking and financial services and insurance sector across ANZ region and all that like stuff. In my portfolio, we won $100 million deal, and I got like massive kudos and everything. And I'm out there, the energy guy, doing this, doing that. But inside, it was all empty. Inside, I was going down. I was fat. I hated my body. I hated everything about my life except my girls and my wife. They were like supportive. I would be with friends. I'll be a misfit. And I know some of you will say, "What? This guy was like 43-year-old guy, and he has these problems." That's called the midlife crisis that you all probably will run into. So anyway, so I was like really not feeling it. Success stopped meaning anything. Money stopped meaning anything. Like you would say, hey, how is that somebody can fall out of money? I fall in love out of money. I fell absolutely out of love. I hated the paycheck because I didn't deserve it. So all this is happening, and I'm still getting bonuses because I'm achieving the results. In the region, I was the best performing. Like I never ever missed my profit and loss, my revenue target, and never missed my profit target. Everything was good, but inside it's like, is this who I am? Bas ho gaya. I would be misfit with friends and say, ho gaya. People are talking about actor.
This
Sorry?
I'm not made for this. You realized?
Yeah. Is this me? Is this me? So 2017, ultimately, actually exactly like 3 days later, March 8th, International Women's Day was the transition point. That's when I said I registered myself for a personal development program. And in the night, I'm thinking, what's my problem in life? So I came to this conclusion, which was a wrong conclusion, but I came to this conclusion that I don't think big enough. So I thought, what is one thing I want to change about my life? I said, I want to change my weight. I hate it. I'm 86 kg. I hate it. And before that, for 17 years, I was trying to lose weight. And then I
Listen,
came across,
we would like to hear the story behind it, as I know there's an amazing story. I think you
yeah,
lost 16 kgs in just 6 weeks.
16 weeks. 16.
16
So,
weeks.
so what happened was, when I looked at it, the search that I did on the net, and this could be a second golden nugget, and it's going to be bonus because I'm not even started at 7. So the search that I did was different. And you know what? When you ask a different question from life, then you can get a different answer. Asking the same stupid question again and again doesn't get you anywhere. 17 years, I
Yes.
tried to lose weight. That night, I started looking, how can a 45-year-old man have six packs? And I came across this article from Ankur Wariku, which he wrote in October 2014 and changed my life. He was much younger, obviously, but it completely transformed the way I think about myself. What I
You got the
ate,
right.
absolutely right. What I ate on 9th of March 2017 is what I ate this morning. Not changed. And I'm a guy who basically gives into
Wow.
temptation just like that. I had zero temptation, zero cheat days because my identity shifted. And even then, I did not know it. That today, what I teach people, what I help people with is shifting their identity. I didn't know it that that was the foundation of me knowing that who I am and why am I, why I am. So any which ways, I lose my 16 kg in 16 weeks and I never gained it back except when I went to India this time. Oh, those 5 kg came back, of which 2 kg are gone and another 3 kg are going to go. So anyway, this happened and I'm looking good outside, but I'm not feeling in my work. I was not liking my work. I was like, yes, why?
Yes.
And
What about the soul that is not still fit?
yeah, but like still, what about my soul? What about who I am? So my manager at the time, and one of the other thing is I've always had great managers. In fact, the guy who fired me from Microsoft, Tarun Salim, I interviewed him in March, and at the end of this kind of a Zoom call, we both took off. He just went in. He was in office. I was here in this room. He went and closed his door. We both took off our t-shirts and we are like comparing muscles. That's the kind of connection. And I told Tarun, if you had told me all these things, you wouldn't have had to fire me. He said, if I had not fired you, you wouldn't have been here. I'm like, okay, deal. So,
That's okay too. That's
so
completely right.
yeah. So all the things keep on going. Like all the things are happening, and I'm actually like, what do I do? So I'm so frustrated that I asked my manager that Ivan. He's like this tall guy, Ivan McLean, literally this tall. Okay, so taller than me. And I said, Ivan, why do you keep me around? Like not that tall. I'm just dramatizing, right? So, Ivan, why do you keep me around? And he's like, what are you saying? I cannot imagine my leadership team without you, Kapil. Like, why? He said, in an NFL game, he's a big NFL fan, Sydney Swan. He said, in an NFL game, there are those people on the field who are running, who are killing it. In a normal game, 1.5 hours, these guys run for 9.1 kilometers. So they're running, they're making a goal, they're doing everything it takes, and there are people who are out there encouraging them, cheering them on, getting them into the back room, and really egging them and pushing them. That's who you are, Kapil. I can't think of my team without you. And for me, the world fell apart. He was saying it to encourage me, but I was like, shit, this is who I am. I'm a support system.
No.
Damn. Anyway, that's what happened. So I'm shocked. And a week later, I quit. Just went and resigned. Because in that week, I worked out who I am born to be. And why, and I don't want to get into the whole story, but 2018 was very tough for us financially because I'm working as a Shilpa my wife is working full time as a project manager at a bank, big bank. She's making good amount of money, but I'm making literally nothing. The whole year, as a coach, somebody who's supposed to be helping people up and all of it, and helping people build extraordinary career, I made 1/7 of my entire yearly income in the entire year. So it was a failure, failure, failure. And then what happens? My wife gets a redundancy in October. She's given 5 months to find another job, and we decide that no, she's going to join the business. And unfortunately, January 2019, we were really down to like literally $563 in our bank. Every piece of income, everything that we had built so far was either in this house or investment property or land or some place which it could not be taken out. And at that time, we decided that we're going to still continue to follow our passion. And that's when the new foundation of our business was born. And so last year, we finished our business with about $1 million. And we know that we're going from strength to strength to strength. We impacted hundreds of people directly in terms of like speaking to them as one-to-one conversation, and tens and thousands of people across the globe. The biggest lesson that I learned in this entire thing is a lot of people, so note it down, guys and girls. A lot of people will tell you, do what you love. No, sorry, Ulta. It's such a bad one. Love what you do. Fall in love. Come on, find something good. And they'll be like motivationally talk to you, say, find out what just love whatever you do so you'll be amazing at that. But here's the thing I learned, that it's upside down. Find out what you love and then do that. Then become a beast in that. Get obsessed with that. I saw a question earlier and they were showing me the question. Be obsessed. In life, whatever it is, you want to play sports, you want to be, like do bodybuilding, you want to build a business, you want to get a job, be the best. Do not compromise on that. If you love, absolutely do what you love, then money doesn't become a challenge. You will not fall into the typical pattern of behavior most of the corporate executives get into, because the place up there is very thin. You'll not fall into that. You would find this is who you are and this is who you are meant to do. So this is a critical lesson. This is one. All right, so everybody's okay with that. Right?
And that's how you are here. Wow, sir, wow. So inspiring.
Cool. So by the way, I'm okay with people sharing comments, and I can look at the comments and ask, oh, people have been writing comments. Okay, good. All right. So this is like metal.
I'm sure they are curious to ask you questions.
Right. So you can throw in questions, and I'll try to attempt to answer them. But if I
Yes, sir,
don't,
yes,
then
sir. Can I begin, sir?
right. Beautiful. So this is my first thing, right? Very first lesson I want you to have a walk away with is that instead of loving what you
That
do,
was amazing to hear, sir.
find
Sir,
out
as
what.
you know, every one of us have these days we have 9 to 5 jobs, we have life, we have work, we have children. But why don't most of the people have job satisfaction these days? They are not
Because it's
satisfied.
a
They
job.
are just working like robots.
Yeah, because it's a job. Because they're not actually falling in love with their job. I have people I have helped, corporate executive who just are successful, but they're not finding job satisfaction. If you love what you do, you would automatically have job satisfaction. If you absolutely no, it's the other way. Why keep I saying? Okay, if you do what you love, then you'll have job satisfaction. I have, and I'm not saying everyone should go and open a business. I'm not saying that. I'm saying even in your job, if there are things that you could be amazing at, find those things and be absolutely amazing at that. Job satisfaction is like it's don't consider like an external goal. If this is in alignment with this, you will have job satisfaction, definitely.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Amazing
Right.
words.
So let me
Sir, I
ask
had a
something.
question.
Go ahead, ask the question.
I read somewhere that you started your education in Hindi medium, but you gave
Yes, I
your
did.
boards in English
Yes, I did. Pretty
without
crazy.
telling. If you can tell that incident, because many of my
Yes, what
classmates too
was the
are
story?
from
That amazing
Hindi and
story behind
now.
Yeah. Hmm. So what happened was that I have a cousin, Pankaj. Pankaj went to REC Vana, REC Nagpur, VRC. Yeah, it's called VRC at the time. And Pankaj was just 1 year older to me, but he was 3 years senior because the guy got promoted. Hindi medium guy from Shikohaba. And he's my Mausi's son. So we will meet in Kanpur, where my mom is from. We will meet, and I was inspired by him, generally speaking. Like the guy was like energetic and everything amazing, amazing, amazing. So he shared with me that he decided that he wants to work on himself, on his English. And that's what he did. And I think at that time back then, I was a pretty clueless guy. If I find something to hold on to, a rug to hold on to, I will hold on to it. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do what Pankaj did. And that's what I did. He gave his board exam in English. I will do the same thing. So I remember in the Hindi medium, like my twin and I were there, and in year 11 or 12, the physics teacher used to actually speak in Hindi. I still remember this. And he had pan, he'll eat pan here, and he said, "Yo, yeah, lolok, aisa ghumta hai." Like he used to speak like that, and then he translated in English for me. And I gave my exam. I got like 60% marks, by the way, in my year 12. So I just barely managed. And only later I got to know that if I had 59.9, I wouldn't have been able to get into the REC lab. It's like, holy crap. It's like, oh, wow. Okay, so it's like, big thing. Right. Okay,
Such
good.
funny and amusing story.
So we'll answer the question later. Okay, love introduction. I want to talk to you about the lesson number 2. I know that I already
Yes.
gave 3, but the first one and second one I forgot. The first one now is like the new first one of the 7 is that find out what you want to do with your life, and then do that. You will be absolutely amazing. So that's one thing. Second, there's this guy. His name is Alex Bennion. Has anybody heard of Alex Bennion? Give me a yes.
Kind of, sir.
Okay. So
Some.
Alex was a young guy, I think 19-year-old guy. He was enrolled into medical and decided to do MBA for some reason, or Bachelor of Business Studies and all of it. And Alex, he decided that what he wants to do really is to find out how all these people are super successful. So he decided he's going to interview billionaires, and he was like a middle class guy, literally no support, no money, and he went around and actually found himself just pushing out there to all of these people, connecting with people, interviewing and writing a book called The Third Door. So really read that book. For you, all you guys, young people, it will change your way you think. And the entire premise of that book is that if you're standing out of a nightclub, there are one door is where there's like a red carpet, a big limousine comes in, and you get off and you walk in style towards it, and people just let you in. Everybody's dream is like that.
Yes.
Second door is where there are like about 300 people in the queue dying to get in and hoping they get in because the club door will close anytime. But what Alex says is there is a third door. And the third door is really jumping off the lane, running around like mad, dodging bouncers, and getting to the club and getting lost. And obviously you don't do that because you probably likely to get beaten out. But the idea is behind that is the third door is really about leverage. It's about finding people who have done what you want to do and talking to them. It's about following those people instead of following those skimpy bikini lad folks on the Instagrams and all of it and doing all this stuff. Follow people who are inspiring. Follow people like Gary Vaynerchuk, who basically talks to young generation massively, right? The guy is social media phenomenon. There's nobody in the world better than Gary Vaynerchuk. So if you follow, if you do that, if you leverage other people, then you will have a shortcut. Because guess what happens? In life, in career, what people like me have done pretty stupidly, and even 90% of you will probably still end up doing it because you will not remember it unless you write it down. You walk into a room and you say, "Oh, cool, this room is empty." Right. This is pretty cool. Oh, why is everybody running towards that side? Let me go. So you start running towards that place. Everybody's trying to push towards a door. And you go in there and you just somehow get just squished and all of it, and people touching you all over and somehow get in. And then you come to the next door and say, "Whoa, I'm now senior team lead or whatever. Now I have arrived." And it's empty, it's very sparse, very few people touching you, and just so you dust it off and you say, "Oh, everybody's going towards that." And then you go towards it, and then you notice there are some people who are just walking by. But by the time you're already into the race, and then you say, "Oh, what people are doing? Oh, they're unethical, they have no contact, or they have contact, they're Sylvester Stallone's son and all those kind of thing," and then you still go in this door. And then you arrive again, and again it's a bigger empty place. and you keep going through it, keep going through it, keep going through it, keep going through it, till you realize that you could have always had an option to actually go through that door if you had only built up connections and authentic, genuine relationships. That is what it takes. So, second, my second advice, second golden nugget is leverage people. It is a power to change the way you work. Leverage other people, build connections, and leverage the people. I'll take a question
Yes.
now before I get to the
Amazing,
third one.
amazing, amazing advice, sir. Amazing advice.
Sir,
Uh,
we have a youth audience, so this would be a really nice
Yes.
question. They would love to know
and so
about
you are
this.
a life mentor, is so this
Okay,
question is
so
must.
yeah, yeah. How many people ever have been in love?
I doubt,
Give me
sir. Most of us are teenagers, so
Yeah, you know what? Do you have this term called FOSLA, which is Frustrated One-Sided Lovers Association? It's a very
no, sir.
REC term. We used to have it in our days, which is FOSLA, which is Frustrated One-Sided Lovers Association. And everybody, one point of time
That's
in life, was president of FOSLA, like me too included, right? Why can't this person be my main and
nice.
all of this?
Were you the president?
No, I'm saying it was not a formal organization. Everybody who had his heart broken becomes a president of FOSTA in one part time or the other, right? So, so, so look, I found like I joining engineering, I did find somebody. I really wanted to get married to her, and everything was okay. Her parents came to my place and all of it, and I had this built up this image about her, which is where the golden nugget is probably. I built up this image about her as a person, and no matter what she did, that image is what I fell in love with. Not it, and it was purely attraction. Oh, this is what she is. And when we finally broke apart, when we finally fell away, it was like I was heartbroken and everything. But when I got married, and I got married to an amazing person, my wife is a CA and all those kind of things. Education was the reason why I thought I did it. But the
Yes,
way
sir.
the kind of stability that she brought in my life when I got married, that's when I fell in love. That's when I realized that love is not about love, and this is my definition. Love is not just about what I feel for other person, but how much I want to enable the other person. So people my age will
Wow.
often be, holding hands like uncle and auntie walking in the back, this thing. And you guys will be laughing at it, but basically we talk about it. You guys are all adult, yeah, lovemaking becomes a chore that they have to do once in a month, which is pretty crappy. Like, people become like this, and there's no longer juices flowing. You don't look at each other and say, hey, I love you, babe. You don't do that. We do this all the time. And we find ways to fall in love with each other every now and then, every time, all the time. And she knows it, and I know it, that she's the most important person after myself, of course. She's more important to me than my children. She's more important to me than anybody in the world. Because guess what? My parents had their partner. My children will find their partners. In fact, my older one already has one. But she's my partner. She's my mate. She's my buddy.
Yes, yes.
That
Exactly,
is
sir.
love.
Exactly.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, sir. A beautiful answer, I must say.
Okay, cool. So I already told you about my weight loss journey. What
Yes,
I
sir.
did not tell
Sure.
you,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Quite inspiring, sir.
yeah.
At
So what I
16
did
in
not tell you,
Sydney.
yeah. But what I did not tell you was that for 17 years, when I actually ended up analyzing it, for 17 years, when I was trying to lose weight, I would do general motor diet. Everybody knows that. How do you lose weight? Oh, you eat less, you exercise more, and that's it, right? Easy. But why is it that 99% of people in the world can't do it, especially people my age? Why can't they do it, and why can't they maintain it? It's because of three forces, which is everybody knows it. You can so knowledge itself is not sufficient. Back in 2000, it was a knowledge economy, but today it's not. Knowledge is important, but it's not sufficient. Beyond that, level two is you're gonna feel it in your bones. I need to do this. I want to do it. This is important. But that also is not going to cut it. The third thing, which is your identity shift, which is I am it. When I lost my weight, the reason I lost my weight is because I became that person. I became that person who was a lean and strong guy. It became that person. The identity shifted. So when you want to get something big in life, which is the third golden nugget, that's when you lose weight. And there's also another that's when you do get anywhere. There's also another massive thing which is there. At that time, when I was in my spree, I was obsessed. I'm always obsessed about things I'm doing. If you look at sports people, like you look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, he will win, one of the best men in the world, and the next day morning, he's out there on the court at 4 a.m. doing 500 shots before somebody else comes in. And the way he was is that if I'm going out of the gym and one of the teammates walks in after 2 hours of grueling gym, I walk back because I'm the last person standing. So that's what it takes. People say, "Oh, Michael Jordan got lucky," or "Michael Phelps got lucky because got this long arms." No, they didn't get lucky. They worked their ass off. So
Yes.
at the time, so obsession is important. Now, at that time, what I did was that I would talk to everybody in the world about weight. I would eat their head. People would tell me, "Kapil, can you just stop this?" But I would talk about weight gain, weight loss. And in my proximity, we are six, like we had. Still, we're not fallen out, but I've changed my proximity. In my proximity, of the six families, 12 people, four of them lost 10 kg plus.
Wow.
So stand guard to your mind. Today, a lot of people talk about politics, religion, news. Literally size measuring contest happens on WhatsApp group and all of it. If that is who you want to be, then that's who you will become. Stand guard to what enters this place. If you if you get if you you know, I want all of you to take a look at your five people that you spend time with. Are you the smartest person in the room? Are you smarter than them? Or you're actually smarter doesn't mean better looking. It means are you actually learning from them and only teaching them? What's the point of the size measuring contest? What's the point of conversation about somebody? What if the relationship that you have with your friends is about, "Oh man, what's up? Have fun," and that's about it, then that's what you will have, only fun. But if it becomes about in that fun, you create something amazing. You create something beautiful. That's how Steve Jobs was born. It was his love of music that got him to create iPod. He didn't think of one fine day, "Oh, let's create iPod." It was his love for Bob Dylan. That's what did it. So your passion, your energy and energy and any of it cannot be converted into an outcome if your proximity, the five people that you spend time with, are talking about stuff that you don't give a damn about. So if you have that thing, find your five people, think about your life, and I assure you, your health, the type of stuff you end up doing in your life, will end up becoming an average of that. So that's my fourth point.
Wow, wow. That was an amazing advice, sir. That was an amazing.
Awesome. I'll take a question and then I'll come to the point number five. Four.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So distraction. Yeah.
Yes, sir. When we do something, whether it is a student life or our daily life, we got distracted with many things. Like, what should we do so that we can focus on our aim?
There is only one way. There's only one way. That way is to create habits that you just have, which are your habits, which are not told by a guru to you. But if you build habits deliberately and follow them, that's the only way to beat through distraction. Now, obviously, if you have great habits, but as a result of that, even if you are into this great routine, and I don't mean to say like make your life mechanical, if you still end up not having any input in your life which is bigger than yourself, then that's useless. So find out what can you do to actually, what do you want to do, what is it that where your juices flow, where is it where your energy comes at the top. Because when you feel energetic about something, it is not about being an introvert and being an extrovert and all. It's not at all about that, right?
Yes.
Shilpa is an absolute amazing complete introvert, but she will come here and she will light it up because she's absolutely in love with what she does. So, and I'm like an ambivert. I can talk at this energy level for like 10 and a half hours straight, maybe a toilet break, but whatever, that's it. Right? So figure out what you want to do. And that's how you do it. If your life is filled up with all of those things, then it's going to be very difficult unless you take out some stuff which is stupid and waste of time, and you don't even want to do that, but you just do that. If you take those things out, then you can feed that with something great. And for that, somebody asked me a question: how did you work on my communication skills? I read like hell. I remember in Kota near our home, because we shifted from JK. There was this guy. He was doing engineering from Kota. He used to read Alistair MacLean's novels. So my very first introduction was Where Eagles Dare. I think so. Yeah, Where Eagles Dare. So I started, looking at all these books, and I would actually borrow it, and I'll actually write all those words. Recently, I took a picture in India on the Word Power Made Easy book. I picked that book, and at the airport, I'm like, oh man, someday I'm going to share the story of this book changed my life. So I would have my notes and all of it, and I kept on doing it through engineering, through my college every time. I made friends who basically could speak better than I did, and I learned a lot from them. So I changed my proximity. I just became obsessive on that. So the answer to that one word answer is get obsessed. Absolutely get obsessed. Obsession is the key. Like when your parents tell you, why are you going crazy on this thing, man? Tell them, because I'm obsessed. No, being obsessed is bad. No, it's not. It's not. Like if the society, universe, everybody has told you being obsessed is bad, you know what you do? You've got 5 fingers, you know which finger to use. That's what you do.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows
Yes.
what I mean. Right? I don't want
Yes,
to show
sir.
it.
Being obsessed with good things is good.
Absolutely. Be obsessed. Like, look at like, I used to, one of the things I've learned, and which is amazing learning, is that movie stars, I would like, earlier you look at the movie stars and say, you look at them, oh, what is these guys? But when you start reading what they talk about, when you start really listening to them, then you think, oh my gosh, these people are amazing. They're brilliant. If I could be like 1% of some of these people and have that fire inside me, because it takes guts to be yourself. It takes guts. It takes power. So be obsessed or be average. There's no other option. At this stage, hopefully nobody will talk about I want a balance in my life, because balance is like this seesaw. Who, like all of you as children, have been on seesaw?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This fun or
We
this is
all had
fun?
Yes, sir.
This is not fun. This is
always
stupid.
this one. Always this one.
Yeah. So there'll be upside downside. Right? Don't say I'm chasing happiness. Like who? Like what nonsense? Chase fulfillment. Happiness, you will become sad. You will screw it up, or rather, strongly, you will F it up. You will have bad times. You will basically be devastated, fired, and all of that stuff. But if you're obsessed about your goals, I promise you will get there. All right, let's talk about
Wow.
this. This is important. I
That
didn't
was
take care.
inspiring and amazing.
So this is my story number 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 5. I'll talk about the business later. So this was in March last year, where we ran a Plateful Summit, where we interviewed people who were CXOs in organization to a world champion, a woman named Siri Lindley. Write that name, guys. Siri Lindley. Follow her. You'll be surprised about what she is. Siri Lindley was a person who was she was an LGBT community, so she was gay. Siri Lindley was a person who decided that she wants to participate in triathlon, but she didn't know how to swim. And 9 years later, she stood as a world champion. So we interviewed Siri. We interviewed some of the world champion coaches and all of it. One of the guys we interviewed was Shankar Srinivasan. He was Cognizant's ex-chief people officer, so really big guy. But the benefit was that Shankar was my manager's manager earlier, so I just reached out and I spoke to him. And I asked Shankar this question. Shankar achieved a lot. He made millions of dollars because he joined Cognizant in 96 when Cognizant was very small, $1.75 million, to becoming like $16 billion company. Shankar was there with them as a CPO till it was like 8 billion. Shankar made millions at 52 years of age. He was done. And I asked him, Shankar, what's the one thing that is the biggest regret for you? He said, the one thing is that 2 years back when I left Cognizant and I started on my own to create this company, I actually started feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. 50-year-old guy who's got crores and crores of rupees in the bank said I started feeling a lot of anxiety. Doesn't make money back. And he found that along with that, he found that he's got severe, sugar, BP. 50-year-old guy, right? I was talking to somebody. I met my IMT mates yesterday. The 37-year-old guy who's got BP and sugar, and he puts it onto his family tree and hereditary. And I couldn't say anything. I'm 50-year-old. My mom has BP and sugar. My dad has BP and sugar. I don't have it. I will never have it. Right? It's in the mindset. So
That's
anyway, Shankar
correct.
says the biggest lesson that I learned is that your health. There is no going back on that. If you don't take care of your health, there's nothing is worth it. Take care of it. Like I learned the very first time I went to gym was way back in 2017. Before that, I never saw gym. And now I cannot keep away from physical fitness because I know this is who I am every single day. Not every single day, 5 times a week. But I don't cheat on it. I do it regularly. Your physical fitness is the thing. There's no point in making all that money if you can't enjoy it. Right? So this is another lesson.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Okay, what's
Absolutely.
the question? Then I'll talk about number 6.
Sir, as you are one of the owner of coaching center who has made million of dollars, so how would you suggest someone to make a business from scratch? How to start? What would be the first steps, the
Yeah,
challenges which need to be handled?
cool. So a lot of people think of business as there's an opportunity out there which I'm going to fill. That's the least preferred way to do business. When you hear all of those stories of people have done something, literally none of them have done it because they actually found an opportunity. So I'll tell you a story, like story guy. So about 2.5 weeks last to last Friday, a young boy just similar to your age came to my home. He's my engineering batchmate's son. So Adib. So Adib is doing computer science and commerce and economics from the University of Sydney. So he's new to Sydney because last year he joined, but it was all online. So this year he arrived. So I said, hey, why don't we get him here and give him some Indian food, So we got him up, and he shared his story, and it blew my socks off. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. So he shared that
We would love
this
to
I
hear
was
that.
an average student, and my dad was like, hey, REC product and all that stuff. So dad was pushing me to do stuff. So he said, 2018, I finished my year 12. And then my dad said, go to US. So I take SAT, and in SAT, my score is 1480, 1480. And then he said, what happened was that there was a newspaper advertisement that Times of India is looking for intern, but their minimum score should be 1500. And dad was like, I told you, you should have worked harder. What the hell, Adib? And Adib got crazy. I'm like, he's a crazy ass guy. I was like, what the hell, man, you did? So he got really upset about it. So he wrote a letter, he wrote an email to that email ID because when he looked at the job description, it was like, Adib said, this is me, this is for me. So he felt really in tune with that. He wrote a mail, which he tried to tone it down, even though it was pretty aggressive. But he wrote that I have this and this and this, and I can create this value and that value, and 2-page letter. And then he wrote that. And by the way, my SAT score is 1480. But I think you're gonna you something like you're gonna miss a lot if you don't take me. And then he forgot about it. 2 weeks later, he got a call. He went for the interview. There are probably like 100 people or something like that, and he got selected. Then he was told, you have to fly to California and spend time with Mr. Samir Jain as his EA. Samir Jain is 65-year-old vice chairman of Times of India. And he said, I was staying next door, not next door, sorry, in the next room in the same house with Mr. Samir Jain. He's staying next to a billionaire. I would go there free and intern for Samir Jain. If I can get to Samir Jain today to intern, I will go free and intern for Samir Jain. I will do that. Because, and he said, I participated in few meetings, but this guy will send a note to Mark Zuckerberg. I saw his approach. I saw the things. And I asked him, Samir Jain, about the business. And Samir Jain obviously got the business from his family. He didn't have it. But what he found about business is that Samir Jain or anybody, he understood all those big guys, and he will be sometimes in meeting. They talk normally. They don't talk like about, okay, so what we should do is this. No big deal. Simple stuff. And what he learned from Samir was, I learned this lesson from Adib, is that None of the businessmen create a business to make money. They don't want, it's not that money is bad. Like, you should make shitload of money. There's no issue with that. But they don't create it to make money. They create it because they want to follow what is there in their heart. It comes to same point. Find out what you love and build a structure around it. Find out people who are better than you and go in their proximity. Keep going in the proximity. That's what you gotta do to build a business. That's the step number one. There are a lot of other steps, but I would say I was going to, like, 4% coaches in the world are the, like, 96% coaches in the world fail to make a living out of it. Of that, less than 0.1% make a million. So I can tell you, because I've done that, I can tell you the only way to do it is actually being absolutely in love with what you do. Crazily, obsessively, and create a model and everything around it. Which has?
True, sir. True. So true.
Okay. I want to tell you another story which is very personal, just happened 2 months back, and it comes back to the same point about that finding what you love. So it was, we were going to leave for India on 2nd of December last year. We had the tickets booked. Three of us were going, and my 20-year-old, she was going to come separately because she's working in a coffee shop, she's working at a tutoring place, she's working in a restaurant, so she's doing all of those kind of things. So she's like, I don't want to leave job, so I'll come later. So anyway, three of us were going to start, and what happened was the Shilpa had this cough, and it was recurring for last 3-4 months. So we were actually saying, you know what? If in the airline they look at the cough, COVID stuff, we will get grounded. So let's get it checked. So on 23rd or around that time, we finally went to a doctor after like 3 months of delaying it, and we got an X-ray
Yes.
done. The moment we get the X-ray done, she came out. A call came. Please come back. You need to do a CT scan right now. Something really serious, right? So we go back, get the CT scan done. Next day, the CT scan results come out, and we go to our general practitioner doctor again. And doctor she's saying serious. She's like, this not the next day, like 29th. So 29th, she went to, it's like finally the report came and everything came up. 29th, um, somebody asked me what was, I'll answer that. You'll be surprised. Anyway, so uh, so 29th, the doctor said this is a serious thing. It could be a big problem. I'm going to get a specialist appointment. Now in Australia, if you want to get a specialist appointment, you got to wait for 3 months. But she got a specialist appointment for us for 30th, the very next day. We see this respiratory specialist who says, you can't go to India because this could be cancer. It could be one of the three things. It could be a severe case of inflammation, and this was after the COVID injection. It was after effect. It could be severe case of inflammation. It could be cancer, or worst, it can be something called sarcoidosis, for which there's no cure. Nobody knows why it happens. Now we are here, absolutely devastated. Cancel the ticket, and we're trying to hold back. I'm trying to hold back here, but just this side of the wall in the other room, just lying down, holding each other, and like really, literally like crying. And I'm like, what do we do? And and then we're like, I said, Shilpa, I'm really feeling bad. She said, I'm feeling bad as well. And we're talking and feeling bad, saying more feel bad. Like, and then suddenly I asked her a question. I said, Shilpa, what would you do? What would you do with the work that we do now? She said, and without thinking, she said, oh, I'm going to have to do it faster because if I have to go, I can't go like this. And I just jumped up, sat down, and looked at her incredulously. There's a person who's being told that she could die because of cancer, or she could have cancer, don't know what this thing. And she says, if I have less time, I'm going to speed up what we do. And I said,
Oh.
Shilpa, this is Steve Jobs' shit. This is what Steve Jobs did. On his deathbed, he talked about the future of personal computers with Bill Gates for 2 hours. And that's when I knew I'm free. And by the way, it was also my younger daughter's 17th birthday. About half an hour later, we put extremely loud music in the other room, really loud, and we danced for about 4.5 hours. And then we did the test and all of it. And we found on 10th, doctor said, yep, you can go. It doesn't look like it is cancer, but you can go. But you come back, we'll do more invasive tests. And we were, a day later, like 2 days later, we were off to India. And we spent time.
Wow, sir.
Multiple lessons about if you find what you love, nothing matters. You can beat cancer, you can beat anything. And by the way, here's a clincher, here's a punchline. We came back, we get a CT scan done, and we do the test. The doctor says those lymph nodes which were like 3.5 centimeter long, they're back to 1.5, and you're not taking any medicine. What happened? What did you do? She was, no, I was just present. I was just being
Salute to
myself.
the spirit.
Yeah. So you can, so this is the thing. When you fall in love with what you do, you automatically tend to be healthier, right? So this is what you just okay, right. The next thing,
Um,
um, I like it's a completely different story, but and it's going to surprise a lot of you, and especially this young age. You kind of we don't think about it. We love our friends, but we don't think of the power of people. Simon Sinek shared the story that in US Navy, there is a particular program. Not there is a program. It's like if you for those of you who have heard of David Goggins. Well, if you don't know David Goggins, look up, follow that guy. He's the strongest man alive. So anyway, so he was talking about that he was talking to David and said, what kind of people make it through that entire training, which is the toughest training on the planet, where they become Navy SEAL? Who makes it to that? And David is a guy who basically once ran 100 miles, and at 70 miles, he broke his bone. He didn't have a hairline fracture. He broke it. He put a tape around it and went on for 30 more miles. So he's that guy. He did 4,130 pull-ups in a single day. So he's that guy. So he said, what kind of people make it to the Hell Week in this Navy SEAL training? And he said, you know what? I've seen people who are really strong, very powerful, not making through it. I've seen people who are going at it, who are positive minded, positive energy, not making through it. I've seen people who basically are thin, not that strong, but they make it through it. And the biggest differentiating factor in people who make it and who don't are the people, wait for it. The biggest differentiating factor in success and failure, literally, in basically the toughest training on the whole planet, are the people who carry other people with them. This is the
True,
mantra.
true.
Absolutely, sir.
What
Absolutely,
you
sir.
Absolutely.
so this is okay. So yeah, so leave that to you, right? Um, what is success in life? Right? Different definition of success.
Yes, sir. Everyone has different meanings. What that means for you?
Okay.
How would
For
you
me,
define yourself?
yeah. For me, success is really it's like very very simple. Let me think of. So for me, success is being absolutely aligned with who I am, absolutely like all my energy, everything around me, being aligned with who I am, and allowing that to govern my life rather than anything external. And when I'm alignment, it's like play it full, which is why can't I have amazing health, absolutely amazing energy? Why can't I make like do like 80 push-ups when I'm 90-year old? Like absolutely strong and absolutely top of my energy inside outside. That's segment one. And why can't I have beautiful relationship with myself so that I look up at myself in the mirror and I like who I am, not because other people like me, but because of who I am in here. And I have a beautiful, amazing, passionate relationship with my partner. Absolutely love my children and everybody and everybody in my family and friends. But more importantly, how can I look at a total stranger and tell them that I love them without worrying about how they will judge me? That's the second aspect of relationship. And the third is the achievement segment, where I want to have a sense of belongingness, sense of purpose, sense of meaning, sense of impact, and shitload of money. Right? So that being in myself alignment with who I am and allowing that to project outside, that is success for me.
That is the true definition, sir.
Really, sir, really.
Right? How do we enhance personality?
I agree, that's true. You are right, sir. And
Okay. Yeah, Sanjay is so right. Sanjay is so right. So mindset and psyche and physiology. Like physiology has to be strong about not just sight but also in as how we are. Right. What's the question? How to enhance our personality so that people who take our facts lightly can't take us lightly. Here's the bad news for you guys. Here's the bad news. There will always be people who will throw a sucker punch. There will always be somebody ready to bite. Right.
They actually
If you ever read this book, there's this guy who left a amazing review. He said that I'm reading this book and I can notice lots of grammatical mistakes, lots of sentence construction issues. Till the time I came to a point where it actually says the author says that we know in this book there are a lot of grammatical mistakes. We know there are a lot of issues, but we decided to put it out there anyways because the message is more important than how you look at it. When I shared my
absolutely.
story about getting fired from Microsoft, nobody judged me. Like I didn't have courage to put this story in the book. Whereas I was supposed to be this kick-ass
Yeah.
coach, honest. I didn't have the courage. But in 2020, I went around and shared the story on one of these forums, and nobody judged me. Then I put it on social media as a story. Now my LinkedIn profile says the very first time it says in 2005 Microsoft fired me.
Five.
Nobody
Yes,
judged
sir.
me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah.
Sir,
Well,
looks like the time is flowing little too fast, and as
yeah.
always,
I
time
think
is
that's
little
about it.
constrained.
Yeah, I want to do one more thing with everybody who's there, right? I want all of you guys to get up. And can you put me on the screen alone so that they can see me? Put me alone on the screen. Like only me, right? Okay. So I want everybody to get up. Everybody get up, please. Put your hands like this. Everybody get up. This is literally going to make a big difference to you guys. This is my parting gift to you, all of you. Put your hands like this. Okay. And go back as much as you can. And notice how far your hands, this hand has gone to. Go as much as you can. Now come back normally and stand still. This time don't move. This time do not move. Just close your eyes and keep your face straight. Don't move your body at all. Just you do this in your head, right? So this time I want you to imagine that you're moving, not actually moving. This time आप सोचो कि आप पूरा का पूरा 360 डिग्री घूम सकते हो. दिमाग में अपने लगाओ कि मैं पूरा घूम रहा हूं and see yourself really going all the way. In your brain, in your mind, you're having an image of this person is completely moved. Now open your eyes again and spread your hands like that. Everybody can see me hopefully. And go back again and notice how much you go to. In every single case you will find that second time you go more. And it's not because oh your body was more flexible at this time. It's because when you saw the image in your head, you made it a reality. So guys and girls, this is my parting message to you that you are the only person limiting yourself. You're the only person who's limiting yourself. The more time you spend on things which are outside your control, the more bad, the more average life you will create. The limit, you broke the limit the moment you went in your head, you broke the limit in your of moving. That's the same way you can break any chains. Just decide that I'm going to break it. Just decide that I have the power inside me to break it. That's about it.
Thank you, sir. Those words were really inspiring. I'm sure our audience also enjoyed it. Now, I would like to call upon stage Tanya for giving the vote of thanks.
Sir. It is a very known saying that two most important in your days are the day you are born and the day you found out why. A big thanks to Kapil Kulshrestha sir for his time and efforts for the session. It imparted a lot of knowledge to all of us. Sir, you truly made this day memorable for me. Your intellectual knowledge has added the glory to the session. I'm sure everybody here is inspired by your highly sparkling words. I would also like to thank all of the volunteers and attendees for their precious time. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for making this session successful.